Welcome to the second lecture of Software Engineering Technique. As we were discussing about the software crisis, so now what we have learned that if the demand of the software is more and the supply is less, then it leads to a software crisis. If we will analyze the graph, what we can see that as the year passes from the year 1960 to 2018, the hardware as well as the software cost also increases. Nowadays, most of the organizations are spending a huge amount of budget on the software. Also, customers are buying software for their personal as well as professional use. So, what are the reasons that the cost of the software is increasing so much? And also, if we will move to the next slide, then we will find out that if there are so many challenges with the software, then why we not entirely move to the hardware system? Because a software is relatively easy and faster to develop and also to change. Yes, if the size of the problem increases, definitely the complexity of the problem increases, and it is one of the issue with the software, but making a hardware is too much difficult. And the beauty of the software is that it consumes no space, weight or power. Now, more is the complexity of software, the harder it is to change. Why? Because the more the changes made to a program, the greater becomes its complexity. It is because as the size of the software increases, the chances of error also increases in the software. Also, sometimes it happens that some of the major requirements of the customer may be not included in the software, that we have to add later in the software. Also, the demands of the customer frequently changes, so we have to accommodate those changes in the software. So these are some of the complexity that we face in the development of a software. If we see the report of the Standish group, what we have realized that only 28% of the software is successfully delivered to the market, and 23% is cancelled, and the remaining 49% is delayed or cost overrun. So, as I told you that nowadays software is very important for most of the companies, and only 28% of the software are coming to the market, then definitely it leads to the increase in cost of the software. And as we are not following a proper analysis, estimation, designing technique, so it leads to the cost overrun or delayed in the software development. We will learn each and every factors which leads to the cancellations or the cost overrun of the software in the coming classes. Now, what factors are contributing to the software crisis? First is the larger problem. If the size of the problem increases, the complexity of the software also increases, because the chances of error is very high, and it's difficult to alter or debug a large problem. The second one is the poor project management. Yes, before developing anything, we require to do a proper estimation, a proper analysis, designing, testing. If these things cannot be done, then it leads to a poor management. So before developing a software, it is very important to do the proper analysis, estimation, designing and testing. lack of adequate training in software engineering is also one of the factors for the software crisis. Now, the engineers who are involved in the development of a software should know each and every phases of the software development, and they should not skip any of the step. Otherwise, it leads to the cost overrun or maybe delayed in the software development. Skill shortage is also one of the factors which is leading to the software crisis, because developing a good software is one of the important skill a software engineer or a computer science engineer should have. So each computer science engineer should need to develop this skill. And low productivity improvement is also one of the factor for the software crisis. Now, what were the traditional way of the software development? Earlier, we were using the exploratory style of software development. Exploratory is also known as build and fix. Why it is called exploratory? Because anyone who know to write a code can develop a software. Just getting a problem, if he is able to write a code, he started working on it. But the problem with the exploratory software development is that it leads to a dirty program, because there is no proper analysis, estimation, or any planning is done before the development of the software. Also, in the exploratory style, the bugs are fixed only when they are noticed. There is no previous provision to find out the errors or the bugs in the software. If if we will follow the exploratory style, and if you are able to write a code, then you can also able to write a software. But the software which is written by a junior program or the unexperienced person, is that the software maybe not as per the customer requirement, or it may have a lot of errors, or it may not be in the proper format. So these challenges what we were facing in the exploratory software development. If we will see this diagram, the exploratory style can be easily explained. Here in the exploratory style, first we do the initial coding. The initial coding is given for the testing. During the testing, if we find out any type of error or issue in the program, then we fix that error, and then we again do the testing. This provision of finding out the error or finding out any issues is not done before during writing coding or before writing coding. So in exploratory style, we just start writing a code, then after completing the code, we give it for testing, and during the testing, if we find out any type of errors, then it is fixed at that moment. If we will see this graph then we can see that as the program size increases, the effort, time and cost also increases exponentially in the exploratory style. In the x-axis we have a program size, and in the y-axis we have effort, time and cost. Now, but if we follow a software engineering technique to develop a software, then what we can see that the line is about a straight, but it is not straight, because in software engineering technique most of the things are done manually, so it cannot be accurate according as per the machine. But if